All right. Example number 2 for probability, continuing on with chapter 9. So for this one, all they want you to do is add up a couple different probabilities here. What's the probability of guessing one or more correct? And what you'll do is you'll start with the number 1 because you're allowed to get one or more. And you'll add up all these numbers, the first probability plus the next one, plus the next one, plus the next. Now there's a little cheat code to this. If you add up all these numbers, I do believe, there it is right there. You do get 0.763. So I'm adding up all those numbers, and 0.763 is the correct answer. But there's a cheat code here. If you add them all up, that's what you get. What you could do instead, since we're not using this number down here, you could assume that these are all 100% because they are. All the probabilities need to add up to be 100%. And then you can subtract 23.7% because this is 23.7% if you move the decimals. When you subtract that, we subtract that through, carry the 1, drop the 6, and we minus 3, we get 7. And you find out that it does end up being 76.3%. So a little bit of a cheat code there. You don't necessarily need it, but since we're looking at all the ones that are 1 or more, your answer would be 0.763. I want it as a decimal. The next one, what's the probability of guessing numbers fewer than 2 correct? Well, fewer than 2 is only going to be these two numbers down here. Just those two. So I only have to add those two numbers together. 0.237, 0.396. I add those two together, and I end up with, wrong button. There I am again. Look at Stu. We add those together, and we get 633 with the point. So 0.633 is our answer there. And just had to add up those last two. Less than 2. Fewer than 2 correct. The next one says, what's the probability of passing the quiz if you get 4 or 5 correct, right, by guessing? That means you're only going to get 4, you're only going to get 5. If we add together 0.014 and 0.001, don't need a calculator for this one. We end up 0.015. We move the decimal place, and it's not 15%. Think of this as 1.5%. But the answer would be 0.015 as a probability. So you have a really, really low chance of guessing all 5 of them correct. It is what it is. And that's how that one works. So let's go ahead and continue on for another one. You can rewind that. You can pause it. You can do whatever you need to do to check over that work. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. On this next one, they want to know what's the probability of guessing 3 or more correct. So that means we're going to go 3 or more. We're going to add these together. 3 plus 6 plus 1 is 10. We carry the 1. 2, 7, 3 is another 10. We carry the 1. And we end up with 4 plus 1 is 5. And you end up with a 50% chance for that. And all I did was add those together. Again, I would want the answer 0.50 for the probability. What's the probability of guessing fewer than 2 correct? Fewer than 2, once again, would just be adding together the ones that are less than 2. So this is going to be a 7, an 8, and a 1. So 0.187 would be your answer, or 18.7%. I do want the decimal as the answer on the quiz. What's the probability of passing the quiz, getting 4 or 5 correct by guessing? We would just add together the 4 or the 5. It would be a 7, an 8, and a 1, which is surprisingly similar to what they had for B, just because the way the probabilities panned out, and that would be our answer. All right, so there's some good examples for that. Let's see, do I have one more? Nope, you guys luck out. What we're going to do is we're going to have a couple different classwork things that you can work on this week. I do want you to work on the reteach. I want you to work on the practice B. These are PDF files that you can find in the Google Classroom, as well as the math read and write.